Welcome to the FSC podcast. Here's Avery, PJ, and Nick.
League Office is now in session. This is the Fantasy Sports Concierge podcast, where we talk about sports, fantasy sports, league management, and whatever else we get distracted by. Check us out at fsconcierge.com, where we manage your fantasy league so you can just have fun. Like and subscribe, all of our socials, all that good stuff. My name's Avery. I'm joined by my fellow front office members, Nick and PJ. And today we're going to talk about running back committees. Which ones should you avoid? Which ones should you buy into? I'm going to bring up a couple of them, and we're just going to talk about which running back we would rather have out of those committees. But before that, in America here, oddly enough, I see we might have some international viewers, or it might just be a lot of like ISP rerouting when people are listening. But in America, we had 4th of July. These two lucky guys have families with fiancés and kids, and I want to know, how'd your 4th of July's go? What'd you do? Fun stuff?
I had off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and she wanted to go down the beach, but I talked her out of that because the traffic was just going to be insane on Saturday.
Which one did she want to go to?
I didn't get that far.
You shut it down before that?
I just knew that it was just going to be so many hours of just driving. Like, I just didn't want to do it. So
does she drive?
Yeah, she's.
But like, does she like to drive? I mean, like, if you guys are going to go on a road trip, who would drive more?
I'd rather be the one driving. She just.
She's not a good driver.
She freaks me out.
Really?
She's probably all right. But I got freaked out when I'm driving. But I don't know.
That's fair. So what'd you guys do instead? What'd she tell you to do instead? What was a compromise?
I had to build a pool in my backyard. It took me all day Saturday. It was a real pain in the ass. But it was up and running by Sunday, and they all enjoyed it.
It was worth it?
I got to get in it at about like 4:00 in the afternoon on Sunday, but they were in it all day long. So,
did you feel like you got as much appreciation as you deserved for doing it?
Nah, never.
Why? Did you get like a dinner or something? Like, there's no kind of like, here, thanks, Dad.
No. Her mom called Kayla, and she was like, look what we got, a pool. I'm telling way crazy.
Okay,
and
all right. So you got.
She's like, did you say thank you? And she was like, oh yeah, thanks, Dad.
All right, you got a little bit of dad cred. You got the leftover dad cred.
Yeah.
PJ, what'd you do?
It was good weekend. That's what it is anymore. You know what I mean? If I can like add activities to their life, like, that's a win every week.
Tire them out a little bit.
Yeah.
PJ, what'd you do?
I mean, every year we usually go to the Marple Parade, but they canceled it this year because it was like 110 degrees outside.
Yeah, that would have been.
And the band was like, we're not fucking doing that. Totally understandable, though. But it was actually a pretty chilling day. We didn't really do much, but one of Camille's friends was having a party, so they just bought a new house. So it was the first time I was checking it out. And Matt, the boyfriend of Camille's friend, he's like a hunter-gatherer type. So he spent like $1,000 on fireworks. So yeah, it was pretty cool. We were just chilling out in the yard, watching them go off. Thank God it rained, though, because he was shooting them into a fucking tree. Yeah, so, but no, it was a good time, dude. Got to spend it all day with my kids, which is all I really like doing. 4th of July is my favorite holiday. I don't get asked too much. I don't have to buy anything. All we do is just celebrate with hot dogs, fucking burgers, and baseball. Really. I mean, that's all I really do on 4th of July. So, and then fireworks at the end of the day. It's always pretty chilling.
That's a good point. 4th of July has to be one of the cheapest holidays there are, right, in America?
Oh, hands down. And no one's like, my kids are pretty big. Like, I've kind of created a monster. Like, Easter, I get them like all like a nice gift, and fucking Valentine's Day and fucking like all of them.
I know, right? And now
it's a monster. Yeah, it's a total monster. But I don't get asked on 4th of July, so it's like the best holiday for sure.
That's some good advice for me if I ever have kids. Don't get them anything for Easter. Don't get them anything for Valentine's Day. So I don't.
Just don't go overboard.
You have to.
You want to, that's the thing, you
Yeah,
know?
you
You
want to.
got the extra money or whatever, you're like, "Fuck it." You know, see them
That's
smile a little more on the Easter whatever holiday we're talking about here. Fucking Arbor Day, some people get gifts. It's fucking crazy, so
Boxing Day, baby. Canada Boxing Day, one of the best days of the year. 26th of December.
yeah. Yeah, but
Uh,
outside of that, it was great. How about yours? What did you do, Avery?
I, as a single person with no kids, I got Cyberpunk 2077 for the first time. I bought that game. Have you heard of it? It's an amazing
Yeah.
game. And I essentially played that game the entire. I mean, I just beat it like last night. So like, I played that whole fucking. I was doing that. I got high and played Cyberpunk 2077 for
There you
like
go.
48 straight hours. It was awesome. And the whole only thing that was rough about the weekend was my dog, because it was so hot. Like when the pavement's too hot for your hand, then it's too hot for like a dog's paws. So I couldn't take her out to walk. I usually walk her 2-3 times a day, and she was pissed at me, annoying the shit out of me most of the day because I just let her out on the porch and let her hang out there, but we didn't get to walk. So that was, and fireworks always scare the shit out of her. So they're not as fun when
Yeah.
with dogs rather than kids, because she tries to go to whichever the room is the furthest in my house from where the sound's coming from, and then like presses herself against the ground as if she's trying to like press herself through the floor, and it's just stressed, and it just feels like shit watching her do that.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was fun being a loner and playing a bunch of video games. Another video game coming out tonight that I'm going to be going hard on, starting at midnight, is Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, one of the best Assassin's Creed games in the franchise.
NCAA comes out soon, baby.
Oh yeah, get your Brendan Sorsby NIL
Yeah.
money ready.
Yep.
All right, moving on to more relevant sports stuff. It's been a long run of this happening, but recently flared up weird stuff with Brandon Ayuk. Just talking about, we'll just go over first what happened. So Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver for the 49ers, very good wide receiver for the 49ers, had a wide receiver one season, monster season 2023, and demanded trade, got traded to the Steelers, but then didn't because some weird stuff happened, whatever. But eventually, the 49ers paid him a 4-year, $120 million contract, $76 million guaranteed. Then he got hurt in 2024, week 7, against the Chiefs, tore the ACL and MCL in his right knee, required surgery, ended his whole season. And then, like, the rehab was weird. He skipped some rehab sessions. That's when, like, him and the 49ers starting to not really work. And then in December 2025, he was placed on the reserve/left squad list, which, like, don't know what that is. But, like, and now he's doing all this wild social media stuff. He's saying John Lynch said he's played his last snap with the Niners. He keeps making fun of the 49ers for paying him, which I don't get why that's a good idea. Like, you're not, I feel like you're not endearing yourself to the rest of the league's GMs. And you're like, haha, you guys paid me, you idiots. Like, taking money out of his closet and throwing it in the air or something. What have you guys seen on this? And why is he doing this? Why is he insane?
Well, sure. If he did step away right now, he did rob the 49ers. Like, I'm not saying he's right. Seems like he's lost his mind, but he did rob them for $76 million.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like he is screwing himself out of any future earnings, but if it ended right now and he managed his money,
he's trying to force his way to the Commanders because he played in college with Jaden Daniels. I know, but like, if I'm the Commanders, like, why would I bring in a guy like that? Like, you seem unbalanced. Like, what the hell? At least we can say with AJ Brown, he didn't do that. AJ Brown had his own kind of tantrum, but at least he didn't go that crazy.
Same with George Pickens. He never like really lost it like that. You know what I mean?
Which is surprising because George Pickens doesn't seem like more of a guy that would happen with.
We had it, I guess, in his past.
Well,
just don't.
This is a very much Dallas Cowboys-esque situation, though. I mean, they were, they had an expensive roster already. They had a guy in Deebo Samuel who they paid in 2022 a lot of money. And so, I mean, the idea, I'm assuming by Brandon Ayuk is why not do like a Jamar Chase, T. Higgins type situation where you spend a lot of money on your two wide receivers. But I mean, they had Trent Williams, McCaffrey, Kittle, Warner, Bosa all under contract. It was, and
And they
then
were
you
gonna
had Brock Purdy, who was going to
yeah.
be eligible soon enough. So, and then he got hurt. You know what I mean? I feel somewhat bad for him in a sense, but but he wasn't getting the volume of a guy who gets $30 million. I mean, you should be at like 140 targets. I think he was at 105 in that 23 season,
Well, he
and
only played 7 games on the contract, so I don't think there was ever really any chance for him to
right.
to
Well,
fulfill it before he went crazy. Like, I
yeah,
don't it seems like the schism, the point that started it was when he, like, missed the rehab assignments or whatever. I don't know why he did that. Like, I
right.
wonder what but I can't wait until we get the 30 for 30 about this or, like, the actual details of, like, why this happened, but do you guys think at the end of the day, do you guys think that he will successfully force his way onto a roster this season, or do you think he's on, like, the leave players list or whatever where the 49ers aren't paying him? He doesn't count towards their roster spot, and if they don't drop him or do anything, which they said they're not going to, he can't go anywhere else.
I don't think teams are really looking to touch him. I think it's 2023 is a fucking long time ago in the NFL world. And
Oh,
the injury in between with everything, he seems to be losing his mind. People who are gonna look to sign him aren't gonna wanna spend a lot of money. Is he
he's 28
alright
years
with that?
old. He's 28 years old now.
Mhm.
So, yeah, he's really got maybe 2 years left of a 2, 3 years left of a wide receiver prime, but he's never even proven that he's one of the receivers that would have
Yeah.
a
He had
longer
one
run.
explosive year. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It
I
was
don't
really just the 1 year. So, I don't see many people that I know in fantasy, I'm not taking a risk on him unless he
There's a
gets
lot of
signed
veteran
mid-season or some shit. Maybe
there's a
I'll
lot
look
of
at
veteran wide receivers that are available that I would bet
sure
money get
sign before
signed
him. I'd
before he
sign Diggs
does.
before him.
I mean, even
Yeah,
Debo, even though he was better than Debo on the way out, I would probably sign Debo before him because
At
of
least,
the way he's
Debo
acting.
won't go crazy like that. Yeah,
true.
I just don't understand. So, we are in agreement that don't pick Brandon Ayuk. Like, it's not even worth having him. I don't think he's obviously not eligible for an IR spot, so he would take a roster spot, I think.
He's
It's
one
just
of
not
those
worth it.
guys that you wanna wait and see if a top tier guy goes down and the other
Yeah.
team goes out and grabs him. Maybe
So
you
this
take a
isn't
flyer
like
on
your Sorsby take, PJ, where you can't play him. You can't play him. That's the
Yeah, but you can't because
You can't play
Sorsby
Sorsby.
gambled on the
that's what it's
game. Ayuk's just an asshole, which, like, there are plenty of
Yeah.
receivers who are assholes who would do
I'm
this if
not
they had
saying
to.
that he's gonna play, though. I don't think that
I
anyone's
don't
gonna
think he'll play all season either.
Yeah,
But,
it's
like, if Terry McLaurin gets injured for the
right.
season, maybe
A.J.
Washington's like,
Brown goes down or something, yeah.
we'll
fuck
throw you a
it.
third, like, for him or something. Not a third, maybe a sixth. I don't think anybody's paying anything.
Mm-mm.
What do you
Is he
over or
is he good?
under?
He's not getting released? He's gonna hold a roster
No,
spot?
the 49ers are not gonna release him because he doesn't
He
on the
got
list that
waived.
he's on.
He got
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
I'm pretty sure he got waived.
No, he didn't. He's
there's
he's
no
on this one
Oh,
of
they
way
haven't yet, but they said they were.
there's no way he
when?
holds a roster spot this year, dude.
No, the thing is, the list that he's on, the, like, doesn't show up list, he doesn't take up a roster spot on that
Right,
list.
right,
Like, they
right.
can keep him on that list indefinitely,
Mhm.
and he will not take up a roster spot, so they don't have to worry about it, and they don't have to pay him. So, like,
Right.
why would the 49ers take him off that list? If anything, him being such a dickhead means they're gonna do it longer. Like, that's weird that he thinks that this is a good route to do this. I don't get it. And he
So
fired his agent,
yeah,
and
they voided his 26 guaranteed money,
yeah, that means they're not
and
paying
then
him.
right, and then they
So he's not getting
so there's
70 cents.
speculation. I think the report that I saw was that the 49ers are gonna try to trade or release
Wait
Ayuk.
till he's in court and he's talking about and then they took the money away and he's just going like this. He's like waving all his fucking money on there. Like, did you see that video? He pulled the
Yeah,
money out of
yeah.
the
He
duffel
got paid
bag.
$48 million from them on that contract already. So I mean, whatever
Okay.
they give him, it doesn't
I'd
really
walk
mean
away.
much. I mean, I
sure.
would be playing football because I'm not a crazy person, but in his situation, it's not a big deal to walk away. The thing is, I don't think the 49ers are going to do him a solid. You know what I mean? They're going to keep him on that list and say,
No,
fuck you, bro.
they're gonna do what's best for them. Yeah.
All right, now on to some the most important part of this pod, RB committees. Which RB committees are we interested in? I'm going to throw out some running back committees, and then we're all just going to talk about them as we see fit. And most of these are going to be the RB committees on good offenses. If there's a running back committee on a bad offense like the Browns might have a committee somewhat because Quinshot Judkins is injured. He might not be ready week 1. And Dylan Sampson got some time early in the season. He had a good week 1 and then fell after that. But who cares? Neither of them are really going to be that much of a producer overall relative to the rest of franchise running backs because the Browns offense sucks and the Browns suck. So the first one I want to bring up is Jordan Mason versus Aaron Jones on the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Jones just restructured his contract this year, signed a restructured 1-year contract for this season only, worth $5 million, $5.5 million, $5 million guaranteed. It lowered his base salary from $9 million. So, one of my hypotheses when it comes to running backs is whichever one has more resources attributed to them, whether they're a higher draft pick or they have a longer contract or more money on their contract, is probably who's going to get more opportunities. That's not a great sign. That they were like, either we're going to release you or you take this lower contract, and he just had to deal with it because nobody else was going to pay him. But Aaron Jones has had a pretty good career, injury prone. Who would you pick out of those two running backs, Jordan Mason versus Aaron Jones? DJ?
I'm going to take Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones is, coming in as RB1. But I don't like really either of them, to be honest with you, because it's going to be tough to determine. Like, I think it's going to be kind of split pretty heftily, like 60-40 almost with this, I mean, I would assume that Jordan Mason's going to be like a 35-45% guy in rushing attempts for them. But that's one of the handcuffs in fantasy. I think he has some standalone flex value, and maybe some league winning potential if Jones misses some games. But I mean, I'm not like wowed by it or anything. If I'm looking at anyone on that roster, if in a dynasty stash situation, I'd go with Devon Claiborne or I mean, but
I actually would take Jordan Mason over Aaron Jones for one thing. Aaron Jones is injury riddled. He misses games all the time. Played 12 games last year to Jordan Mason's 16. And then also, since entering the league in 2022, Jordan Mason has averaged 5.1 yards per carry and 3.4 yards after contact per carry, which are both pretty high up relative to the league. He's generated a first down on 26.6% of his runs. Those are all third among the 56 running backs with at least 300 carries since 2022. So, I mean, he averaged 14.5 points PPR points per game last year in his 4 starts. It was 13th in explosive run percentage at 5.7. Aaron Jones was 39th, 3.6. I just think I think Aaron Jones is going to be the third down back. He'll definitely be the receiving back. So I think he's worth, having on your bench for Jordan Mason. Also gets nicked up. He's a kind of a power back. But
They both
if
get
I was
nicked
going to
up.
pick one,
They both get injured. They're both.
but if I was going to pick one, I would take Jordan Mason. He's younger. He's a better runner, I think. Aaron Jones is a better receiver.
Yeah, Aaron
And,
Jones is at that age where you'd
he's
expect a
getting
decline. Yeah, you'd expect that decline at some point.
yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, Minnesota has a good offense. So I think one of them will be fantasy worthy, even if the other one stays healthy. And then if one of them gets hurt, and the other one, which one of them's going to get hurt, definitely during the season.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I guess I could say that kind of pushes Jones ahead in my mind is really Kevin O'Connell, really values that pass protection, reliability. I think that Jones has earned the coaching staff's trust because they brought him back. I mean, they didn't let him walk this year, which, he's one of those guys that, you would think that they would move on from, or especially in the situation that they're in where they have such a high powered offense now because they got the quarterback situation somewhat figured out. Um, but the same thing with Jordan Mason. Even Jordan Mason, I think, if he's not starting, has a better chance of still having a major role in the offense more so than Aaron Jones.
Yeah. Who do you think will get more touches, let's say, per game next
I
year?
mean, my gut's telling me Aaron Jones, but again, not by a
Really?
lot. I think at the end of the year, it'll be like a difference of 20 to 40, really.
I think it'll depend heavily on who gets injured and for how long,
Yeah.
So
Well, of course, that's with everything, yeah.
last year Jordan Mason had 159 carries and Aaron Jones had 132. So they were pretty close, like you said. That's 27 off.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be similar this year unless one of them gets hurt for a long period of time.
They're throwing the ball this year. I mean, I just don't see them not
Well,
throwing the ball this year. I mean, you went out and you got Kyler Murray for a reason, so.
yeah, but Kyler Murray is not this like skilled passer of the ball. He's better when he runs a lot. I think they'll give him the Sam Darnold treatment and be like, "We're gonna protect you, and you're not gonna." Like Kevin O'Connell's kind of really make sure that he stays on a leash. You know, they're not going to be throwing it 40 times a game. I don't think that's not how you succeed with Kyler Murray as your quarterback. I think they're gonna run the ball 30, 35 times a game.
Yeah.
All right. And then what about your Jaguars with Chris Rodriguez Jr. versus Basil Tutin? I'll say LaQuint Allen too. I don't think that he's gonna have nearly as many touches as Rodriguez Jr. and Tutin, but he's in there. What do you, PJ? Who do you think who would you take out of that backfield?
I mean, Rodriguez is not it's not crazy to think that he could take this from Tootin. Now, Tootin, of course, in his second year, um, and Rodriguez is kinda nursing a bit of a foot injury. Now, they say he's gonna be ready for training camp, but, he has missed his, mini camp, so we'll see where
That's
that is.
rough.
Yeah, especially on a new team. But, I mean, if you look at last year, though, like, Rodriguez kinda emerged there in Washington as being the number 1 guy. Um, Tootin last year on 3.7 yards per carry wasn't great, but, um, his yards after contact was 3.3. So it's like this guy's
It's not
creating
bad.
rushing yards for him. 80.5% of his rushing yards came after contact. So, but then if you're like weighing the options here, Rodriguez was 4.5 yards per carry and 3.46 after contact. So, that those are good numbers for him. Their missed tackle rates are identical, 0.22. But Rodriguez handled a much larger workload in 25. It seems to be probably be more of a reliable back for them. But um, if you're trying to like minimize risk in the drafts, though, I would take a bit more of a risk with this because I think Tootin's going to be probably in that like 25 to like 35 range in running back rankings. I think a lot of people get caught up on like, oh, this guy's the starter. He's got to have a lot of volume. And it's like, nah,
Mhm.
not exactly. So um, this is one that I would, if Tootin was available for cheap or late round, I'm taking him. But I'm also doing that with the idea that I want to get Chris Rodriguez as well because there's no receiving game between the two. So it's like I kind of want to monitor who's going to get those receptions out of the backfield because that alone is going to that's going to swing their value so much
Yeah.
between the two. So and that's what's going to probably differentiate the two. Um
And the
so
goal line carries. Chris Rodriguez is looking like he's gonna be their goal line back, you would think.
yeah, I would
Well,
agree
So
with
what's
that
crazy
completely.
is I thought that too, and I do think that because and this is tough because one of the things we're gonna do is extrapolate a role on one team last year versus they're in a new team, so that it's a different coach is going to see them differently. But Chris Rodriguez last year, he handled 42% of the carries inside the 5 for the Commanders. So while Tootin handled 25% of the carries inside the 5 for the Jags, they had Etienne, so he obviously was their goal line guy. And Chris, like we
Yeah.
we did that 42% might not translate exactly, but Chris Rodriguez is 5'11", 224, whereas Tootin is 5'9", 209. Trevor Riggs has a bigger build. Tootin is more of a speedster, but I think you're right, PJ. Whoever kind of ends up as the pass catching back will probably be the better option.
Hands
Um,
down, yeah.
especially if Chris Rodriguez gets the pass catching back and the goal line carries, and Tootin is just between the 20s, like then it's probably Chris Rodriguez, right? I mean, he has kind of the better rate numbers, as you can say, in their small amount. Like Chris Rodriguez had 112 carries last year, 283. So it's tough to say if they did this performed X last year, if they're going to perform like this year, because it was a small sample for both of them. But also, one thing is that Liam Cohen, the head coach of the Jags, was Chris Rodriguez's college coach, and Liam Cohen brought Chris Rodriguez in.
And
they signed him
also,
to a 2-year contract.
and also going back to Pod 6, though, when we were talking about like what type of metrics that you want to look at, this is like exactly where you want to look for weighted opportunity with your running backs here. So you're going to go 0.7 with rush attempts, and you're going to go 1.5 with targets. So that's where that swing is coming from between these two. You know, whoever's going to get those 1.5 points per target is going to have a metric saying that you got to go with this guy. So,
Which is so crazy because like Chris Rodriguez has 6 passes caught in 35 career games.
yeah,
Is it gonna be him? Like, I don't think so, but like
I
Liam
mean,
Cohen obviously likes him, and Liam Cohen also, like, the way his offenses go, one of his running backs is the catch guy. Like, he's the one who got Rashad White doing all that.
yeah, I mean, that's where what's his name might fall in, LeQuint.
Yeah, could
I
be.
mean, I don't know about
That would
him,
really
whether or not
suck.
he's then that's where you're like, get the fuck
If
away.
LeQuint Allen is the third down pass catching back, and then they just and
Yeah.
Chris Rodriguez is your goal line back, and Basil Tutin between 20s, none of them are worth having. And like really,
Yeah.
probably none of them are, like, I wouldn't plan on. If you're doing a zero RB though, you probably got to take one of these guys and hope
Right.
something happens. If you were doing that, let's say you're doing zero RB, who are you taking? You said you're taking Rodriguez?
Yeah,
TJ?
Rodriguez for sure. I think there's higher upside with him.
Nick, who would you take if you had to pick
I think the
between?
higher upside, I like Rodriguez too, because his higher upside. And the thing about also with the Jaguars, they had a top 10 red zone offense last year, and they did it without back really scoring. And you know what I mean?
Well, and
They didn't.
Etienne.
But
Well,
yeah,
it was Etienne. He was good.
Yeah,
was
but
he really the red zone guy though?
Yeah, I'm not saying in the red zone. It was a lot of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence did a lot in the,
That's true. Yeah.
for them in the red
On
zone last year.
carry percentage inside the 5 last year, Etienne was at 37.5%. So that's not a crazy
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
I think I would go with Chris Rodriguez Jr. because of the Liam Cohen connection.
And it goes back to what you said earlier. The who are they paying? You know, Tutin's on that 4-year rookie contract, and they just paid Chris Rodriguez. So I mean, he's getting paid $6 million this year. To Tutin's $1 million.
His body of work was so much better last year. I mean, he took over that backfield in Washington.
I mean, he took over a crappy backfield.
But no one was expecting that, you know what I mean? And he really emerged there where Tutin kind of had a mediocre rookie season, you know.
But Etienne was always going to be the guy last year for them because he was clearly the more talented back, and like he was, you know, top, like, higher draft pick and all that. So I don't want to hold that against Tutin just because, like, I'm not going to hold it against you that Chris Rodriguez didn't really have any good competition. As much as you love Bill Krosky, like, he's not that good. Of course, Chris Rodriguez got a shot, and Krosky was a rookie.
Krosky wasn't that bad. He was right there with Tutin.
I know, but
better. Yeah.
I'm saying that, like, if you put Krosky on the Jags last year with Etienne, he wouldn't have really done that much either. That's what I mean. Like,
yeah, no, I agree with you.
But I think I agree with what you guys saying. Chris Rodriguez Jr. probably I would take a shot at, but none of these guys are worth a significant investment of your draft capital or rounds or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, these are the guys that could just fall. You know what I mean?
So
and they fall right into your lap where you're like, okay, rather than taking some flyer guy because you like what college you went to, like, here's some legitimate information that you can base that off of.
Yeah. And on to, we'll stick with the Bill Krosky, Rashad White connections because there were both connections for the Jaguars to these players. The committee in Washington, they have a new offense. Supposedly they're going to go under center more. There's going to be more play action. Rashad White, who was just brought in on a 1-year, $2 million deal. He's only 27 years old, so still, like, in the middle of his running back prime, versus Bill Krosky, Troy Krosky Merritt, who PJ loves for some reason.
Well, I'm also want to mention Katron Allen.
I thought Nick was going to be the one who
fucking
did that.
phenomenal. Penn State
I thought Nick was going to do it. I was leaving that open for Nick to do it.
because he went to Penn State, I think there's a chance within 3 years he'll be a top 10 running back in the NFL. So
that is the entire argument for every Penn State running back. He hasn't went to Penn State. He was so good, and his All-America high school numbers are this. He could have a shot.
Yeah, he was a great high school running back. He has everything.
And his numbers
are
were great in college. I mean, they just have that going.
But so what do you, Nick? I'll throw this one to you first. Who do you have between Rachaad White and Bill Krosky? Who do you think is worth more resources for people to invest in?
Well, in PPR, I lean more towards Rachaad White. He's one of the better pass catching backs in the league.
In his career, I'll back that up with some stats. In his career, he's got 205 receptions, 1,450 receiving yards, and 11 receiving touchdowns. That's great numbers for a running back.
Yeah, he's the premier pass catching back. I think
he's 27 years old, so he's been in the league that long.
It's another one of those ones where I always like to lean upside. I don't like to draft that guy who has a low ceiling, like high floor or whatever it is. Like I'm not like a fan of those guys. I like to go upside. And Rachaad White is in that type of offense with Jaden Daniels. If Jaden Daniels can return to success he had 2 years ago, I think that offense needs a pass catching back like Rachaad White.
And another connection I'm going to bring up: Rachaad White and Jaden Daniels were teammates at Arizona State before Jaden Daniels transferred to LSU. So they overlapped in 2020 and 2021. Before Jaden Daniels transferred, Rachaad White caught 43 passes for 456 yards and a touchdown in 2021 with Daniels as a quarterback. So they had some sort of a link already. That's nice. But I don't know. Is Rachaad White the guy on a 1-year deal, the higher upside play? I would think that if Washington was willing to just give him the most opportunities, they would have signed him for a little longer, especially since he's 27. Not like he's old. They could have given him at least a 2-year contract. I mean, they got Bill Krosky for, well, he was undrafted, wasn't he? Or was he drafted? Let me see.
I can't remember, honestly.
He was, let's see, 7th round draft pick. So he was drafted just barely. So what's his contract look like? Because I know if you're in the first round, you get 5 years possible. Like second round's 4, but when you're later in the draft, it's not. Okay, so he's on the second year of a 4-year rookie contract. So they have him for longer, and it
run him into the dirt.
Contract. He's 25 years old. He might be like, that might mean that he gets more opportunities. I mean, I don't think he did well last year with the opportunities they gave him. PJ does.
I like Corey Krosky Merritt.
4.6 yards per carry.
I will
yards.
say to you though, White is definitely the better option to take, just strictly because of that receiving aspect that he has to his game, and also he's a better pass blocker as well. So I think he'll be on the field more. But listen, I'm not ruling Bill out. You know,
of course not.
He was top 15 last year in rushing success rate. I mean, the offense was his. You know what I mean? And he's explosive. I mean, yeah, an 82-yard touchdown run last year.
He's an explosive guy. I'll give him that. He's got the juice. You know, he can like, he looks good when he has things set up for him. I also don't believe in the Commanders or their offense or that like Commanders fans.
Yeah, me either.
I don't think that's going to snap back.
But that's why I think like lots of checkdowns to Rachaad White are what makes
I could see that
a more fantasy value. You know what I mean?
And how much is Jaden Daniels going to run the ball this year? You know,
if they want to be
a question, yeah, because the Washington like to run their guys into the ground. So
yes,
you know, how much does he steal from these two in terms of rushing share? So.
All right, so I think that was a unanimous Rachaad White over Bill Krosky, which I agree with. But still,
But Krosky is going to get drafted higher.
Which is, he's got the hype train. So yeah, so that's a thing that people should look out for. Like, wait.
Well, that's okay. Yeah,
you
just pass. Yeah, just let that pass.
I think if you're looking at opportunities, targets plus rushing attempts, I think Rachaad White will have more. And
I don't
That's
know if
big.
Merrick goes higher than him. Do you think so? Last year, he was so overprojected compared to what he brought to the table, but that was mainly because no one knew who the fuck was going to be the running back and then just assumed that he was. Like, do you really think that he's ranked high? I mean, in going into drafts.
I think so because Rashad White was supplanted by
Bucky
Bucky, and
Irving
I think
last
in a
year,
lot of people's
yeah.
minds, a lot of fantasy people's
I
minds,
agree, yeah.
Rashad White just like, all right, well, he's not good anymore because the Bucks like completely.
But he had a good
Sean
season. He was
Tucker
just
took his role, and
he was just a part. He had a good year. He rushed for over 500
Right.
yards,
I
4.3 yards per carry, and he was still doing his passing
don't know. You
catching
have
thing.
to. I think we
Well, the
got
same
to.
thing. Yeah, go ahead.
We have to reset. We have to reset what good is when it comes to overall
Not
yards.
fantasy good. Yeah, we're not talking
Listen,
fantasy good.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. 500 yards is not good anymore. He averaged 33 yards rushing yards a game. That's not good.
No, right. He had that down season in fantasy. He got
And
supplanted by Bucky Irving.
holy
But
crap!
the point was that in a different system, with a different team, it's not like he was playing bad. He still played well. He
I mean, he
still was
didn't play
averaging.
good. He
I mean, it's
lost.
kind of the
He
same thing
lost.
as Bill. I
Sean
mean,
Tucker.
Bill played well, and then Rodriguez
Sean Tucker
just
passed him though,
emerged.
dude. Like that's not great when
In
Sean
what
Tucker's
sense?
passing. For Rashad White for touches late in the season, Sean Tucker got the carries when Bucky was hurt later in the season. Like
Sean
before he
Tucker was the
came,
starter,
like
right?
before he came back, yeah,
Rashad.
Sean Tucker was the guy that went to, and not Rashad White. And Rashad White was healthy, so like he got passed by two guys. I mean, that's not great. And when you're looking at fantasy points per game in fantasy points last year, PPR scoring, Rashad White had 143 points, and Bill Krosky had 142. And like when we talk about
And that's all
Rashad White,
because he caught the ball.
exactly. When we
Yeah.
talk about like the amount of opportunities they got, Rashad White probably had, a little better of the opportunity mix than Bill Krosky last year, and he was in a better offense. So
40
he had that
catches
kind
is
of
still
headache.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's good, and I
When
think he'll
his
probably have
usage
more than
was
that. This
down
year.
like that, yeah, I mean, he wasn't seeing the field nearly as much, but yet he's still getting 50 catches. That's
Yeah, and I think he'll still probably get to that level this year. He'll probably get 50 catches, maybe 100.
well,
maybe
like
100
Nick
touches.
said, yeah. I
He got
mean, the
targeted
opportunity's there.
45 times last year, and he caught the ball 40 times.
That's good. Like he's a good receiving back. So but I think the point is Bill Krosky has more hype. He's younger. He's more explosive. He's more, what people in fantasy are like, oh, I want this guy. He looks cool. But I do think Rashad White is probably going to have the better year next year.
Well, if he was on a good team and not Washington, he might be able to do something with it. But because he's
I
going
think so too. Yeah.
to meet a wall every single time he hits the line, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. As far as
Got
offenses
checkdowns,
go,
Rashad White.
this is one of the more. But the thing is, in a bad offense, you're probably more likely to get the checkdowns, which is a good thing for him.
Yeah.
All right. On the next team run back by committee, let's go with the Bears with Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift. This is different because these guys are both like more hyped than either of the past two guys. DeAndre Swift, he's 27 years old. He's in the final year of a 3-year, $24 million contract with the Chicago Bears. Monangai is in the second year of his rookie deal. DeAndre Swift had 1,087 rushing yards last year, where Monangai had 783. They were the only NFL teammates last year to both rush for at least 750 yards. That's pretty cool. But I think that Ben Johnson, he likes both the guys, but maybe Monangai a little more. I don't know. What do you guys think? Nick, you're a big Monangai guy. Tell me what you think.
No,
about
I
this.
like Swift.
You think? But I mean, you were the leading wave of us drafting him in our dynasty league.
Well, yeah, I just like the value for him that we got.
You also like that you
at
can't
that
say his
time.
name.
Yeah.
Monangai.
Yeah.
I think Monangai is more of a goal line back, even though DeAndre Swift actually had more attempts within the 5-yard line last year. Wait, let me see them. Chicago. So last year, the yards per carry, DeAndre Swift 4.87, Monangai 4.6, pretty close. But inside the 5, DeAndre Swift had 58% of the carries, and Monangai had 38. Success rates are about the same, 54 for Swift, 51 for Monangai. I don't know. I think that in this instance, it might be that contract is a good decider, where early in the season, DeAndre Swift will be the guy because they have him for one more year. So why not run him into the ground? And it's his contract year. He's going to want to be motivated to get another contract. But later in the year, they switch over and give Monangai more carries because they have him for 2 more years on a cheap rookie deal, and he's good. So I don't know if I would say pick one of them or the other. It depends on your roster construction. If DeAndre Swift is your RB2, that's fine. But just be ready to either trade for somebody later in the season, like do the thing that's hard to do and trade him early in the season when he's doing good for somebody who you think will have more longevity. And I think if you draft Kamanungai, he should not be expected to be your starting running back early in the season. That like having Kamanungai as your RB2 is probably not a great situation to be in. Like I'd rather have him on the bench early in the season, see what happens, and then eventually expect maybe he'll start later.
Yeah, I think Swift starts the year, and I think he starts the year strong, like you said. It may not be a whole season thing, but I think to begin the season, he's going to be a really good play on that Bears offense. I think they're in another year under Ben Johnson, and he's probably the more trusted back between the two. And I think they ride him till the wheels fall off.
Right. Last year of a contract. Why not?
Yeah, and when you got a situation like that, I would expect a good start to the season for Swift. You know what I mean?
I think so too. I just think what's going to be tough is the touchdowns. Who knows what the touchdown breakdown is going to be? Because I think they're both going to. I think we can sign up DeAndre Swift for 15 touches a game, at least early on, and Kamanungai for 10 to 12.
Yeah, and it's again the PPR.
So.
If we're talking PPR, which I hope everybody is, you have that advantage where is your pass catcher. He's a good pass catcher.
Swift, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So in the committee roles, like if it's right down the middle, I always lean towards the guy that is going to get more opportunities to catch the ball. It seems like a no-brainer to me.
But I also really think that when it's something
hard to
like
predict red zone touchdown because it usually is one or the other. It's red zone touchdowns, it's or scoring within the red zone, or it's that guy who's going to get the extra passes. You know what I mean? If you can score so many touchdowns to overcome those extra passes that guy's, but it's how you going to predict the dude who's going to run it in.
Yeah, it's much less predictable because they can a lot of coaches switch their running backs when they're in a situation like this, so you don't have a bell cow back. Series to series, like you get this series, you get this series, and it just so happens you're on the series when they score a touchdown, or like somebody gets injured at the 30 when they're going in and like for a couple plays, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's impossible to really guess who's going to score the touchdowns, but it is a lot more easy to predict who's going to have more targets, which will probably be DeAndre Swift. I just want to caution people that one of the hardest things to do in fantasy football or in any fantasy sport is trading somebody who's doing good. But like you have to do that. Like the beginning of the season, the best players are not like the top 10 at any position in the first 6 weeks of the season is not going to be the same top 10 in the last 6 weeks of the season. And you have to be okay with being uncomfortable and saying like, this is a situation where I can see something shifting. They have a good running back that's younger, that's on a longer contract, and trade him away for something that's useful. Because I think if people keep DeAndre Swift the whole season, he's gonna have a great start, and then they're not necessarily because he's doing bad or anything, but just because Ben
he's
Johnson
not a bell cow, and he's not a bell cow.
Neither of them.
You know what I mean?
He's definitely not. He's definitely not a bell cow.
You could treat him like that early in the year, but to go a whole 17 games, it's not going to happen. So
yeah, he's not built like that.
Right. So the answer may not be mahogany or whatever. Kyle's it may not be his job when Swift's time comes short. So like we're not saying trade for him. We're just saying the fantasy production that you're going to get out of Swift will probably start to, come down. So
yeah, I think they're just gonna like the front office.
It'll be a true commit. Yeah, it'll be like a true committee at that point, and
yeah,
neither of them will be really fantasy relevant, or you won't be able to predict which one will have the week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the worst possible scenario that you can get into, like, one of the things that PJ you said about the Jaguars was like, what if you just take both of them? Like, that's one of the worst scenarios. Is that's a solution to a committee running back problem that you don't want to do. I think people get sucked into this, and I've been sucked into it before and learned from it. If you're like, well, I like the offense, I'll just take both of them. But the thing is, now they're occupying two spots, and one of them's probably not going to have a good week every week. So, like, you really don't want to be like, I'm going to outsmart the world and take both of the people in a committee and then start both of them, because you're just kind of guaranteeing one of your slots is going to be worthless every week. Even
Well,
if the other guy goes
my whole reasoning behind that is so that I can monitor their weighted opportunity.
yeah,
Of course you dump one once you've landed on one. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
agreed.
But for me, if like it's the last pick in my draft and I see, Chris Rodriguez there, and I already have Tutin,
Yeah, that would be worth it in
it
that situation.
justifies it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just warning people, don't do that. Like, that's what he was saying. He was not saying take them both and start them both. That would be
No, no, no,
terrible.
no, 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 no.
All right, another one.
Can I
Okay.
touch on this one a little bit though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because for me, the Bears is like, I'm just gonna like avoid that running back situation altogether because for me, it's like there's too many like kind of what ifs, what's going on, because Ben Johnson likes those multiple running backs. I mean, he's historically been like that. And there's never been a time that Swift rarely gets 20 touches a game, and so the Monangai is kind of proven that can be that guy for them too, because he did it when Swift got hurt last year. He's only averaging 13 yards a carry, but he had multiple 100-yard performances last year too.
13 yards a carry, that's a lot.
No, 13 carries a game. What did I say? 13 yards. 13 carries.
That would have been amazing.
But I think it just makes it incredibly hard to justify a workload of Swift for 70 to 80%. So I think it's going to be incredibly split down the middle. It's just an incredibly balanced offense. I think Swift's fading this year. I think right now, if you look at, he's ranked as the 17th running back on most fantasy drafts. I think that's a way overbuy for DeAndre Swift. I think that in terms of if you get down to it, you need another running back. And then we go into, all right, let's value the offense to make a decision. All right, yeah, DeAndre Swift's a better choice if that's coming over, the fucking backup Raiders quarterback running back or whatever. But it's just, to me, it's going to be I think there's just better options out there. There's easier options for you to choose than trying to figure this out, because I think it's going to be split all throughout the year.
That's fair. I think it's a fair point. Like, I hate getting into the situation where I have to guess, like of starters on my team. Like, you really want to have a situation where,
especially the running back position.
Yeah.
Wide receivers are easier because you can generally have an idea of, or you could generally have an idea of how many targets somebody's going to get around in that game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like with the running back situation, it's fucking hard.
Because I think with running backs also, it's a lot more play in the hot hand, where coaches are more willing to be like, all right, this guy's having a good game. He now gets 20 touches this game, whereas you didn't go into the game plan thinking that. Whereas with receivers, it's like, this guy's getting 8 targets. Yeah. No matter how the passing game is working, even if another receiver is doing good, I'm still calling 8 targets for this dude, because that's what his role is on this team. Yeah. As good as the Bears offense was expected to be, 50% of their running output is not necessarily a good starting running back to have on your fantasy team.
Especially when they're split. Exactly. Yes, I mean, and so like, I view this, if I had, let's say I had both on the team and I'm swapping back and forth. It's like DeAndre Swift has a breakout game. All right, I'm definitely fucking starting DeAndre Swift.
And the next start.
And then that's, and don't get caught up in that. You know what I mean? That's where the overthinking comes in.
So here's a question for you. And this goes on to the next thing. The Panthers offense is not seen as that special. But if we could guarantee that Jonathan Brooks is going to get 90% of the output of the Panthers offense, opportunities of the Panthers offense, not the output, the opportunities, would you rather have that player or 50% of the Bears running back opportunities? You'd rather have from a worse offense, but more opportunities, right? Yeah. I think that's the point that we're trying to get across. So everybody understands.
Opportunity is what rules in fantasy. You know,
Right.
so.
And then, okay, so then real quick, we can go through this one because it's on a worse offense. I just talked about the Panthers, but Jonathan Brooks versus Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard, surprising 2 years ago, was a really good RB2, borderline RB1, had a great season. But last year, and he signed a 4-year, $33 million contract after that 2024 season. But this coming season is the last one with guaranteed money on that contract. So I wouldn't, so like, it's not like Chuba has a way better contract situation. Jonathan Brooks is on the 3rd year of his rookie deal. And he was drafted early in the 2024 draft class. He missed his rookie year because he tore his ACL late in the season at Texas last year. And then he tore his ACL again last year and missed all of last season. But it seemed like off-season conversation is saying Jonathan Brooks is looking good, and the Panthers didn't bring on anybody new. They didn't draft anybody or sign anybody that's expected to challenge these two as the top two. Do you care at all about the Panthers running back situation? Are you avoiding it completely? Would you pick one of these two? Nick, what are you thinking?
I'd definitely take a shot on Jonathan Brooks. It's like one of them situations where a guy's coming off a bunch of injuries. How could the coaching staff come out and be like, "Yeah, he's our RB1," over a guy like Chuba Hubbard who's been there and done a lot for that organization? I think, but when the time comes, Jonathan Brooks was incredible before the injuries. You know what I mean? Like he was looked at, he was like next to like Bijan in terms of like what he was capable of, doing. And I know injuries may cause him never to be the same as that again, but I don't think swing on him. I'll take a swing on him. They say he's looked if they say he looks good, he's out there and he's capable of, they say it's like they're sharing. It's a true, they're sharing the backfield. There's no real RB1 right now. But again, like I said, how could you come in at this time of the season and say, "Oh yeah, Jonathan Brooks is our RB1"? Boom. Just like that's like a smack
you would
in the
never
face
say
of
that.
Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, that's not coach speak.
Even
no coach would ever.
Even if he was like, even if he was like hands down, you just wouldn't do that to Chuba,
Well, so last year it was Rico had 61%, where Chuba was 34%, and then
Rico took it from him.
I think Chuba is what he is. I don't think he had that flash. Who went down the year that he stepped in 2 years ago? Somebody got injured and he stepped in, and he was solid, like you said. He did.
He had a great season, but I think what you're saying is Chuba Hubbard is a good second running back to have on your NFL football team. I'm not saying RB2 for fantasy. He's a good second running back. Like if your number one goes down, you can trust him to start some games and not be a detriment. But Chuba Hubbard is not a difference maker as Jonathan Brooks was drafted to be. Jonathan Brooks was drafted to be RB1. This is our guy. He's getting the most touches. Like that was what he was. He was a pass catcher, and he could do it all.
They need him to change that offense. They need him. They need him to be a game changer in the offense. You know what I mean?
And Rico Dowdle changed the offense for them last year. Like the Panthers had a great run last year. They almost beat the Rams in the playoffs. They did beat the Rams in the regular season, I think, right? Late in the season, that surprise win. So like a lot of that was because Rico Dowdle was running for 200 yards in a game, like a couple times, and he was a problem. So they want Jonathan Brooks, I think, to be what Rico Dowdle was for them last year. That's why they let him go. And I don't think they're going to re-sign Chuba after this year. I think they're going to drop him. They're going to let him go, and they saved $6 million from cap space if they release him after the season. I think they'd rather take the cap space.
I think he is worth a late round pick just because Chuba, just because Jonathan Brooks could get hurt again.
Yeah, I mean the guys.
And then now it's wide open for him.
Right, for the last 3 years, Jonathan Brooks has been injured. So like, let's be real there.
Same thing too with the ACL. So it's like.
Yeah, it could be that maybe he's like a what do we talk about? Producer Reek always brings up his boy Christian Watson and his hamstrings, and how his hamstrings are
oversized.
No, I said that. I was the one who
Reek brings it up. You bring it up too, but Reek loves Christian Watson, and he talks about his different hamstrings. And I haven't heard anything about Jonathan Brooks' ACLs, or maybe did they replace? Is it like Tommy John when they replace him with a dead person's ACL? I don't think so, but I don't know. Like. So Chuba Hubbard's worth a late pick. But I would never draft Chuba Hubbard.
I never brought that up.
It's all me. A second time, you're giving him the credit. It was me.
Yeah, well, we
Well,
had that episode where Christian Watson got re-signed, so we ended up talking about hamstrings, which
oh
is
yeah, hamstrings was a lot of talking
Yeah,
points. But I
his
mean,
one hamstring was 10% smaller than the other hamstring.
yeah, which is well, like I wonder if that's an ACL thing too. Can your ACL be 10% smaller than your other ACL, or your
No,
ACL be
I think
smaller
it's
than an
just
MCL should be?
simple. Like people think like lifting 2 dumbbells the same weight is like making your muscles the same exact strength. And I don't
Yeah,
think it's as simple as that. I think
yeah,
one could just be added, it could be getting a little bit stronger than the other. And over time, like you don't realize it and you're building one.
compounds.
Yeah, well, and then your
All
other
right, well, that
stuff
was enough
starts
time to
to.
spend on the Panthers. Let's move on to another team that's more fun. The Denver Broncos offense is awesome. J.K. Dobbins versus R.J. Harvey. J.K. Dobbins, I think he signed a 1-year contract, 2-year contract this offseason for $16 million. But only the first year is guaranteed, so they can release him after the season for no consequence. R.J. Harvey was very hyped last year. I think 2nd-round draft pick, but then kind of disappointed people a lot because he didn't get as many opportunities as they thought he should. Who do you think, PJ, you would invest more resources in your draft? R.J. Harvey or J.K. Dobbins to the Broncos?
I
It's
feel
a
like they're
tough
gonna
one.
I feel like they're gonna use J.K. Dobbins out the gate a lot more than they will with R.J. Harvey. And really, I'm just basing that off the fact that they paid this guy $8 million a year.
Yeah.
Um, and last year before he got hurt, he played 10 games. He was on pace for 1,300 rushing yards. He was getting 15 attempts
He
per
was
game.
killing it. He was
Yeah,
killing it in the season.
it's a Linz Frank's injury, so that does kind of actually linger.
Yeah.
Um, but I was one
And
of the
J.K.
RJ Harvey guys last year where I took him in a later round, and he really was. He wasn't a guy that you really wanted on your roster
He
because
burned a lot of people.
the question marks that came with him were pretty ridiculous. So, um, even when he got the full share of it, he still wasn't. He was not a fantasy guy that you really could start every week. So, um, I think that like maybe Harvey tops out at like 1,000 all-purpose yards this year. Um,
Yeah, because
if if
he'll be the
JK
receiving
stays
back.
healthy. Yeah,
He'll be the receiving back, Harvey will.
Yeah, he's definitely that's all he really. I think that's all he
yeah,
really
he can't
brings.
run even on the outside or up the
I mean,
middle. Like it's
when JK was out in weeks 11 through 18, he Harvey had 60% of the snaps and he only averaged 72 total yards a game.
Yeah, that's not great.
Um and that was when he was handed the whole offense
The
or
reins.
the whole reins of the running. Um so and he's just
Well,
not that type of back. Like he's one of those backs where I was talking about earlier, like leaning towards the guy who can catch the ball more. But if that's like really all you can bring, it's like,
yeah, that's
it's just like
rough.
then that's not it.
Although it does seem like Denver is going to transition a little more to passing a little more this year. They got Waddle. Like they still have Sutton. They got Franklin as the third receiver now instead of the second. So there
oh,
will be passing more. It's
So
just
maybe a little more checkdowns, a couple more
yeah,
checkdowns
it
for
could
him.
be. Could be. I mean,
possible. Yeah,
Those
in
same checkdowns can go to J.K. Dobbins too, though, and improve
it's true.
what he already had, or what he's
That's true.
capable of doing.
And I do want to say, like, J.K. Dobbins was 5th in the NFL in explosive run rate last year, 7.8%. That's really good. R.J. Harvard was 54th with
Yeah,
2.7%. KJ inside the 5 touches was 64% with R.J. at 45.
RJ's really only production. He had like 1 week where he had 3 touchdowns, and then that was
Yeah,
it. Every other
exactly.
week was kind of mediocre.
And so one of the things I like to do is go through the SB Nation fan pages because a lot of the SB Nation pages, it's the sicko fans who are paying attention way more than you'd think, and they kind of have a good knowledge base to go to SB Nation and sign up for an account and actually comment and stuff. So on their recent fan poll, 62% of Broncos fans voted J.K. Dobbins as the running back who will have the biggest offensive impact on the Broncos this year. So I think J.K. Dobbins probably early on is a better pick and overall might have better numbers, but also J.K. Dobbins is going to get injured. He gets injured all the time.
He
That
does.
injured when he was on the Ravens. He gets injured every single season. He played you said he played 10 games last year. He's not going to play 17 games. Under 13 games played next year for J.K. Dobbins. You guys think?
I think 13 is a great number.
That's why I put it at that. I think I'm gonna take the under. I don't think he goes over 13. We'll say over under 13 and a half. I'm gonna say under. Like maybe he gets to 13.
So, but that's still not, to me, not worth overpaying for a Harvey.
Yeah.
Or, he's got to be at the bottom of.
And the thing is,
can't be someone you take. You can't rely on.
I can hear some background TV noise.
My bad. It's Ayuk again.
What's he doing?
He's on Instagram talking spazzing out.
Dude, get off your phone while we're on a podcast. Are you serious?
Ayuk needs to get off the fucking
America, ladies and gentlemen. The guy can't even do a podcast.
A notification popped up that said
you can't ignore notifications while you're recording a podcast, bro.
I thought
Seriously,
it would be good to look at because we just talked about Brandon Ayuk. Will you shut the fuck up?
Shut the fuck up on a podcast. Last one real quick. Jaylen Warren versus Rico Dowdle on the Steelers. Nick, who you got?
Warren better. I don't like that offense. I don't like them.
I would avoid that.
That's
I would avoid this entirely. Avoid the Steelers running back situation. Whatever. That's going to be a shit show. And just a quick run through. I think avoid the Bears. We all kind of agreed on. If you're going to pick one, maybe DeAndre Swift early on, but avoid the Bears. Avoid the Steelers situation. Washington, I don't think their offense is going to do great, so maybe avoid that. If you got to pick one of them, Rachaad White. You guys tell me if I'm wrong on any of these. Broncos, probably also avoid J.K. Dobbins if you have to pick one, but he's going to get hurt. Jaguars, Chris Rodriguez Jr. I think don't avoid that one. Go with Chris Rodriguez Jr. late in your draft. And for the Vikings, we split. I think Jordan Mason. PJ thinks Aaron Jones. Nick, who did you say for the Vikings you'd rather have?
Jordan Mason, just because of the age thing.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think we can have time for any other running back notes to go through. Just not necessarily committees, but sleeper late round running backs that you guys want to talk about.
Corum.
Nick wants to talk about Blake Corum. Tell us what you think about Blake Corum. Let's go.
I just think he's a hell of a running back. He was what did we say? Oh, he's second in explosive run rate last year, which was every 6.3 carries he averaged a 10+ run. He's in an offense where they are going to have a lot of big explosive plays, I think, out of the running backs because of what they get out of their pass game. And he ate into Kyron's snap count a little bit last year. He took away some carries last year, and I just think he's a good guy to pick up late. A guy that could, you know how running backs go, man.
He's a handcuff.
I'm just saying, running back's that funny position, right? Where 1 year, I mean, he closed the gap in terms of what was available for that offense last season, right? In terms of giving the ball, he gave the Rams a reason to give him the ball last year, right? And if things go his way, he's the type of running back that I wouldn't be surprised with that supplants Kyron Williams as the best running back on the team.
You think they're both going to be healthy? And
I think Kyron Williams is a great running back, but he's more just a product of an offense. And the same goes for maybe Blake Corum. I don't think Blake Corum's this superstar running back, but I think he's in a great system and a great offense. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of them years where the two flip-flop and you get more out of a guy like Blake Corum than you do Kyron.
Who do you think ends up with more opportunities, targets plus carries this coming season? Who do you think ends the season with more?
All right, look. So to start the season, it would be wrong for me to not say Kyron Williams. So I will.
No, what I'm saying overall total.
No, all I'm saying is Corum is one of them guys that I would draft in with a high upside and saying that he could, eat in a lot more at the targets.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. He thinks Blake Corum's going to have a better season.
Adam with Nicholas Singleton.
Yeah, we'll throw that on the. There's going to
maybe.
You have a boomer bust. You have a boomer bust nature.
You got to go for it
so far. And then I wanted to bring up I think people need to keep an eye on Keaton Mitchell. He could be the next Devin A. Chain because Mike McDaniel's now there in Los Angeles. I know you guys admire on Hampton. He's going to be great next year, I think. But I think in a Mike McDaniel offense, there could be room for Keaton Mitchell, who Keaton Mitchell last year led the NFL in explosive run rate at 10% among running backs with at least 50 carries. He's now 2 years removed from his ACL injury. And I think that he's one of the most explosive, fastest people in the NFL. And he's too small to be a bell cow. He's never going to get 200 touches in a season. That's probably not a good idea. But he could, if an injury were to happen and they put him in that Devin A-Chain role, he could take off. He could be a really good guy. PJ,
And
you
I
got
want to
any other
say,
arguments?
hear me if you can hear me.
We can hear.
Charbonnet is probably the guy who I think is going to be undervalued going into the draft because it's looking more like he's going to start on the pup list. And I think Jadarian Price is going to be overvalued. I think people are going to, take that rookie first round situation and run with it. So I think it's that's a guy you pick up, put him on your injured list, and he's probably going to walk in and take the workload away from Jadarian Price when he comes in. So at least he's going to take away the goal line situation. He's still going to be a guy who can produce points for you week to week.
Yeah, and that's when we're like, if you have your running back, don't draft him counting on him in week 6 either, because a lot of times that kind of thing can drag on. But I agree with you in that. A lot of years I'll take somebody like that and just stash it. I mean, I stashed Jonathan Brooks. Didn't work out for me, but that's it. When we talked about keeping your IR spot filled, like that's one of those things where who knows what he could be. He's a wild card for you that could be a high upside dude middle to late of the season.
I think even though Travion Henderson is a great running back, I think people are going to have to slow the roll a little bit on how good he could potentially be this season, because Ramondre Stevenson is still there, and just the way that the Patriots do it, Ramondre is going to just continue to get his share, and I just don't think that this is going to be that crazy jump in a year that a lot of people think that Travion's going to have. I think he's a great back. I just think it's just what the Patriots do. I think they.
Well, we'll see how well he learned to pass block, because I think that is the biggest thing is they
And
couldn't depend on
Stevenson
him
has
for
to hold
pass
the
blocker.
ball.
Yeah,
not fumbled.
that's going to be a big thing.
Well, it's crazy because Ramondre was 8th in the NFL among running backs with 50+ carries and explosive run percentage at 6.9%. Trevion was 15th at 5.6, so that's still not bad. But like, I think you're right. Ramondre Stevenson is not going away. His numbers are good.
He's a pain
His
in the ass
advanced
for
numbers are
fantasy.
good. He is going to still be there even if he keeps fumbling. And I think that it will take him leaving, which this is the last year with guaranteed money on Ramondre's contract. So whereas Henderson is in year 2 of his rookie contract. So I do think Henderson next year, so Dynasty Leagues, I think Henderson next year will be the guy, and he'll have learned to pass block by that point, and there's no reason that he shouldn't be able to figure that out. But I agree with you. This year, Ramondre, I'm not saying either of them is the guy. I would probably avoid that one also.
Yeah, it's more to just slow down on Henderson. It's just just don't overvalue. It's a system thing that kind of
right now, according to Roto Baller, the July 7th data has Henderson being drafted average as the RB22 and Stevenson as RB31, and I think that should probably flip. Well, I mean, they should both probably be in the late 20s among running backs.
Yeah.
Not early on in the running back kind of thing. So
I don't know if they flip them because I think Travion's going to have more targets. So
hopefully, I mean, that's the thing is the reason last year, a big reason last year he didn't get on the field because he couldn't pass block.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't figure that out, he's not going to be on third down to even get the targets. But we'll see. We'll see when some more. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of freaking coach speak of, "Oh, you got so much better, best shape ever," blah blah. But all right, we'll stop it there. We will talk more next time about. We'll talk about some tight ends. Talk about some other stuff. But we'll stop it there. Thanks everybody for joining us. Don't forget, if you want help running your fantasy league, visit fsconcierge.com. Check out our services. Check us out on socials for our clips and all that good stuff. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Like and subscribe this video wherever you see it. We're on all the podcast places, Apple, Spotify. Minutes from today's meeting will not be distributed, and the league office is adjourned until next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by. Visit fsconcierge.com.